Hello, I'm going to be demonstrating how to construct a Lineweaver Burke. Over here in the top left, we have our data. So this is the substrate concentration and the velocity for with and without inhibition. The first step we're going to need to do is to calculate the reciprocals of our substrate concentration and our velocity. So I'm going to do that using the equals function in Excel. I'm going to type equals 1 over, and then select a cell from our substrate concentration and press enter. And in order to get that in the other cells, I'm going to click on the corner, drag down, and because everything is so nicely lined up, again, we're going to drag to the right, and you can see that this is doing the reciprocal for the B column without inhibition and the C column with inhibition. In order to get our chart, I'm going to shift click and select this data right here. Go to Insert, Charts, and Scatter. Now you can see that only added one data set, so I'm going to click on Chart Filters, select Data, add a series, and then for our X values, I'm going to select the substrate concentration, and for the Y values, I'm going to select this column right here with the velocity for the inhibition. So now both of our data sets are on this chart. I'm going to actually extend the chart so that we can get some projection when we add our trend lines. I'm going to do that by clicking on this axis box here, going to options, axis options, and then changing the minimum to -0.5. And I'm going to do that for the other axis again, axis options, minimum, -0.5. In order to get our trend lines, I am going to select this data right here and right click, go to add trend line, and I'm going to do it again for the other one, right click, add trend line. And now I want this trend line to extend, so I'm going to click on it, go to trend line options, and I'm going to extend it forward 1 and extend it backward 0.5, and then so that we can calculate our Vmax and Km later, I'm going to display the equation on the chart. I'm going to repeat that for the other trend line, forecast forward 1 and backward 0.5, and select display equation on chart. Now we have our trend lines. We can see the shape of our Lineweaver Burke, which indicates competitive inhibition. You're going to want to, put your chart titles, your axis titles, and once you do that, you're going to have a finished chart that looks like this. And we can move on to calculating our Vmax and our Km using our equation y equals mx plus b, which you can see is displayed on the chart right here. I've gone ahead and written down the m values for both inhibition and no inhibition, as well as the b values, and then we can just use Excel functions to calculate our Vmax and our Km. So for Vmax, I'm going to use equals 1 over and select our b value, press enter, and then again, because everything is so nicely lined up, just drag to the right and we have our Vmax for with and without inhibition. For Km, very similar, we're going to press equals, we're going to take our m value and multiply it by our Vmax, press enter, drag to the right, and there we go. We have our Vmax values, we have our Km values for our finished Lineweaver Burke graph demonstrating competitive inhibition. Thank you so much.